Thank you for joining me. This is the Spiritual Princess, and I wanted to talk to you about the fundamental psychic senses, which are the Clair senses. These senses are vital for anybody who wants to become an accomplished psychic or a psychic medium. Many already know what Clair senses are, as they're not necessarily new and they've been taught around the world for many years. But these senses should be understood fully and practiced before moving on to more advanced psychic or mediumship training. So in order to evolve, you must understand the Clair senses and how to use them. Each person has different strengths in certain areas. So like an individual may have more active Clair senses in certain areas, and most mediums will have more solid ability of these Clair senses in one or two areas than other people. So it all depends on your individual natural born talent. I could spit that out. But the rest is developmental. As I mentioned, spirit speaks to all of us differently. For instance, I can be in a room full of other accredited mediums, and we will all perceive the same information differently. Okay, so what are the different types of Clair senses? The first sense is sight, which is clairvoyance. And that's the psychic ability to detect or see spirits or other entities without physical sight. So you're not using your physical eyes, you're seeing them in your third eye, your mind's eye, and you'll get impressions or mental images. And the images can include landscapes, people, places, animals, events. As soon as a spirit steps into my aura field, I can see them using my spiritual eyes, which is the third eye. And the physical eyes can be open or closed when this happens. If I'm giving a reading, I tend to keep my eyes open, but I focus on something in the room that allows the images to pop into my head better. And as I talk about who or what I'm seeing, in the beginning it might feel like we're making it up, but when others can validate the image has significance to them, that's when a medium begins to understand this is not their imagination at work, but the spirit world is communicating. Okay, so that was number one. And again, that's clairvoyance. Number two is clairaudience, which is hearing. The ability to hear or listen to spirits who communicate using certain sounds beyond the natural human range. Though this parasense, the frequencies are felt and heard by a medium, often these words are mental impressions the spirit wants to convey. Clairaudience is believed to be a part of the inner voice that alerts us of imminent danger, but many often misunderstood the sense because they think it's their mind playing tricks on them, when it's really spirit, impressing those thoughts into the mind or in the physical ears. I mean, you can physically hear them, but that's a little bit harder. When a medium or anybody is deeply relaxed, it can hear the spirit world audibly. When someone is busy and not paying attention, a voice or thought pops in and takes a person by surprise. Often it has to do with dangerous situations or something that can cause harm, but sometimes if you're cleaning house, say, or driving in the car, you might hear somebody say hello, and just know that's not your mind. It's spirit usually popping in to say hello. And still, a medium must practice strengthening this clairsense if they want to communicate directly with the spirit world. So that's number two, it's clairaudience. So number three is touch, which is also psychometry. This is the ability to collect information about an item with your physical touch. And this is without you having any prior knowledge about the item. It's thought to be ambient energy picked up and translated through the hands. Objects containing natural substances such as wood, glass, stone, or even metal They can hold onto energy either by a person who created it or by someone who owned it. So sensing intense energy within an object is one of the most straightforward senses to develop because anyone can feel the energy, whether they have abilities or not. If the emotions were strong surrounding a piece of material, the energy in the item would be severe, and psychics would immediately pick up on the energy of such an item. So if you are tuned into surroundings and you're tuned into energy more than most people, you will sense the profound feelings in an object more than others. Okay, so going on to number 4. Taste or clairsavorance. This is the experience of tasting substances without physically placing anything into the mouth. It's usually associated with someone who lived and is often described as an impression of like a taste rather than an actual physical sensation. Sometimes this is the only way the spirit can convey that they want somebody to know. Suppose the spirit person was a fantastic cook when they were living, and they made food only their loved one would remember. In that case, that's when they will impress upon a medium a taste that they can describe to someone who would understand the meaning or the memory. Okay, going on to number 5 is smell, which is also called Clairscent. And that's just the ability to smell scents, aromas, and odors. And it's not bound by physical specifications. It's usually attached to a person when they were alive or even in buildings. It's not a physical sensation, but an impression of a smell. It's more common in houses where loved ones had recently died or in areas where paranormal activity is high, potentially indicating the presence of a spirit or another entity. So familiar scents experienced by others are like faint scents of perfume, cologne, flowers, tobacco, pipe smoke, and smells of burnt buildings or wood smoke. Scents within the mind create memories, good or bad. So spirit uses aromas when they want someone to know it's them. It's an easy way for our deceased loved ones to make their presence known. And for me, I always know my grandparents are around because I smell cigarettes. And I have nobody around me who smokes, so when I start to smell cigarette smoke, I know it's my grandpa. He was a heavy smoker. And then when I volunteered my time at the Molly Brown Museum, every time I was up on the second floor around JJ's room, I could always smell tobacco pipe. Loved to smoke his cigars and his tobacco. So that's a scent in that house that everybody seems to smell when they're walking around. So it's just a way for spirits to let us know they're around. Okay, so going on to number 6. These are the emotions and feelings which are clairsentience or empathic. So this is the ability to converse with spirits through feelings and emotions. This is the perception of feeling emotions within the body without external sources. A typical example of this is becoming overwhelmed by emotions and crying for no apparent reason. Like if you visit a location that might have had a traumatic history and say you're just overwhelmed with sadness and you don't know why. It's a very easy ability to develop because a person can notice intense energies left behind by events. Most everyone, psychic or not, can sense these types of forces. So they might not understand why, but they are sensing something is off or feel uneasy for no apparent reason. That's what that Clair sense is. So the 7th clear sense is called clear knowing or claircognizance. And claircognizant messages quickly appear in your mind like a flash and then they're gone. So they might seem random and appear when you're doing something unrelated to it. If fragments of information just enter the mind and you know they're right, and you just don't know how you know, but you know, that's what claircognizance is. So it can be in predictions, premonitions, a feeling of certainty, or that you know you're just right. People with this ability may know certain places, events, situations, or people without traditional receiving the information. It's also presented as a sense of warning or déjà vu. Usually, in these instances, the spirit lets you know in advance. But in other cases, the person is highly in tune with other people's energy, so they'll quickly know something without knowing how or why. The more developed a person is with reading energy around them, the more this ability will present itself. So these are the basic 7 Clair senses that any psychic or psychic medium has to work on strengthening in order to do this job and be more advanced in it. I used to teach a lot of classes in Denver, and this was one of the things we did to develop the Clair senses. There were so many kinds of activities or ways to practice. Um, and I'm not going to go over that now, obviously, but if you are interested in developing your senses that way, I would find classes in your area and find out if they teach about psychometry or you know, clairvoyance or whatever it is. So hopefully that helped explain, and have a great day. Love and light.